Welcome back everyone to the daily market recap. Today is 10th of September 2024 and it's Tuesday. Tomorrow we have CPI news. So going into today, I was mainly expecting a sideways or an accumulation price action, and I was not looking into any large price moves or an expansion move. So again, before we go ahead and do our daily market analysis, we focus here on the previous day high and low. We focus on the candle formation, how the candle reacts. We think about the power of three. We start with the weekly, we go to daily, 4 hour and 15 minute, 5 minute, depends on the day. So what I mean by that is if we have a red folder major news event coming the next day, then we focus on a 5 minute chart on the previous day. But if we have a news event on the same day, then we'll look into or focus more on a 15-minute chart. So again, we think about the fair value gaps, SMT as well. Time is the most important piece in doing any sort of analysis. And then to look into our targets, we focus on standard deviations. All right, so let's start with the weekly chart. Again, like we said yesterday, the previous week closed aggressively and it was bearish, and we could see that we closed below the weekly BPR or the balanced price range. Essentially what that indicates is we have more downside to come. So that is why I have recorded a sell side liquidity here, and that is what my target is for the week. Now we can also look at, because it's a large wick, so when a large wick appears, we can focus more on the mean threshold of the wick as well if we are bullish. So we might see like price tap into this mean threshold and then move upside, and then we'll have to look into the structure that is formed. All right, so let's go into the daily chart to see like how today's day was printed. So now we are into our daily chart. I have still kept the marking which denotes the weekly BPR, and you could see like this is the candle that was printed today. It's a bullish candle. So if we focus on the Friday's candle, we had an aggressive push to the downside, and then the next candle on Monday we had an upside move. Since it failed to take the low of Friday, we can make an argument saying that the next candle will target the high of Friday. So that is why ideally looking at the Friday's candle, today's candle can essentially print higher. However, since we were in this weekly BPR, I was a bit skeptic because there are two possibilities that price taps or retests its BPR and then expands lower. So in that case, today the price would have moved lower and then targeted Monday's low, or it could just start expanding higher and then the next target would be Friday's high. And that's what happened today. I mean, we did not take Friday's high because again, today is Tuesday and we do not have any news, and tomorrow we have CPI, so I was expecting an accumulation anyways. So obviously we shot for that Friday's high target, but we were not able to reach there. So overall today we were bullish. Okay, so now let's go down to the 4 hour chart to see like how the candles were printed. So this is the 6 a.m. candle that got printed today, and if you look at it, the 6 a.m. candle was a bullish candle, and then it validated these down close candles, these two down close candles, as an order block. So what that means is there is a potential chance that price, the next candle or the 10 a.m. 4 hour candle, will tap into this order block and then start expanding higher. Okay, so going into the day, I was bullish. After looking at 6 a.m. candle, the way it was printed, I wanted to see further movement to the upside. However, I noticed something and that made me think twice, and that is, if you look at the weekly BPR, we did not close above the mean threshold of this weekly BPR on the 6 a.m. candle. So we went higher, but then we saw a rejection here and we closed below the weekly BPR. So that was a point of concern that I had. And then just to solidify the price direction, let's go down to a lower time frame now. So if you look at the 15-minute chart, you can see price moved higher at 9:30. So let's circle back and start looking into all the times, right? So at 6 p.m. Delhi open, we saw a move down to the downside. We did not see any move to the upside. So since we were bullish for the day, we could say that, hey, this is a manipulation move to expand higher, right? So so that was good that we started moving downwards, but we kept moving to the downside until our midnight open. Again, at midnight open, we kept moving to the downside again, right? So we did not have any move to the upside, but we were just moving to the downside. Then we targeted the high that was put up right at the daily open, which is 6 p.m. We targeted this high, and since I do not trade before 9:30, I always wait for the New York SE market open. Right at 9:30, we saw a large push to the upside, but look at how the price or how the candle closed. We had an aggressive move to the downside as well, and then it looks as if we did not want to move ahead, right? And then so I did not frame my trade ideas because I was still waiting to see how price will react. Because remember, at this time the 6 a.m. candle did not close. The 6 a.m. candle was still in progress. The 6 a.m. candle closed right here, okay, which is at 10 a.m. So again, I waited to see like how the 9:45 candle closes, and you could see the 9:45 failed to take the high that was put up by the 9:30 a.m. candle. And after that, we have our 10 a.m. candle. We saw a push to the high and then aggressive move to the downside, right? So now again, we have to go into the 5-minute chart, because when we don't expect a large expansion move, there is no point of staying on the 15-minute. So now going down to the 5-minute chart, we could see that 9:30 candle made us high, and then we had a strong rejection to the downside, right? After that, the 9:35 candle, we had a very large move to the downside as well, and then we started moving up. When you saw this price action right at 10, you saw we started moving higher, and right at 10:10 we had a large move to the downside. This is the point where I was pretty sure that we have a lot more downside to come. So what I did was I used the manipulation leg, the 5-minute manipulation leg, which is this high and this is the low for that swing low, to project the standard deviations to see what could be our targets. If you look at this particular candle, you have a 2022 sell model. You see a fair value gap here. Now this is not a perfect example, and the reason is because we saw a tap into this 2022 model or the fair value gap, and instead of going to the downside, we still had a little bit of upside move. But anyways, technically the stop loss should be right on top of this earlier candle, even though it's a very large stop loss. Price came up, and then we had an SMT here as well that I had marked with YM. Price started moving to the downside. And you can see that we hit our target, which is the primary target, 2 to 2.5 standard deviations. And again, we did not close aggressively below 2.5, and that validated the fact that this is a potential area for reversal, and we are not going to see -4 standard deviation. So price then reversed and started going higher. The issue with this price action is we did not get any market structure shift. The market structure shift happened right at this point, and it was a large move to do a market structure shift anyways. So there was no trade after this 2 to 2.5 was hit. So the only trade opportunity that I saw was this 2022 sell model. But apart from that, I thought like the rest of the price action was just accumulation and choppy price action. That is all for today. I think it was a pretty interesting day, but again, we had expected this to be the move because we have a major red folder news event tomorrow, that is CPI. So I'll be looking into how CPI goes. Obviously, there won't be any trades before the news release. I'll wait for some time after news release. Again, the main thing that we will focus tomorrow is to see how the 6 a.m. candle gets printed. Going back to the daily chart, because this is a new candle that has started forming, right? This is for tomorrow. So if this is the manipulation move, we would like to see an expansion to the upside. We have a small daily volume imbalance here. I would really like to see like how price reacts into this volume imbalance. Probably this is like a manipulation move to the downside, and then we'll start expanding higher and potentially target these highs. The volume imbalance would be a nice target, as well as this buy side liquidity would be a nice target. If we come into the buy side liquidity, then we'll engage this daily SIBI, and that would be interesting as well to see. That would give us a sense of where the price is heading next, because if you look at the overall direction, the price is pretty bearish at this point. So tomorrow's price action will tell us if we are planning to start expanding higher or if there is more downside to come. Well, thanks a lot for today. This was a good day again. And I'll see you guys tomorrow after the CPI. Thank you. Take it easy.